Okay. Let's see. Should be live now. That means I should be able to click here. Tom, what's up? Good evening or morning or whatever it is in made up world. Hope everybody's... There we go. Okay, cool. That's good. Let's turn the brightness down on that a wee bit. Sick. Okay, cool. Welcome. We're in. Today's trip will be from Tit Airport. Tit-Re. Good lunchtime. Hell yeah. I want to make it all the way up to Katherine today. Or Tyndall. It looks like it's military one side, civilian other side. But we'll have to do a midway stop somewhere up here. Still yet to pick that. And if any of y'all are not on Discord, then you wouldn't know it, but I've had a mild cold or something here recently, so I'm getting over that. Let's see. For the last stream, we did the 125. So I'm kind of thinking to hop back into the 130. Once again, I don't want to do a million hours tonight, or else I would do the 66. But I want to do... Let me go back to the map real quick. So I think we're just going to do the 130 again real quick to hop from here, then here up to here. Then the next stream we'll do the 66 to get up to the shore, and then we'll swap to something for overwater, not just having to sit there and do straight and level. But yeah, I want to do the 66 next one. Today I'm still feeling mildly under the weather, but I wanted to get back in and do something. So we're going to stick with faster stuff today just because the game cucks the 66 so much. But yeah, we'll have one more 66 day here. Or one more 66 flight here in Australia before we skadoots out. Where are you? It's not bad. As far as I know, the only things that I have with autopilot are the 145 and the 160, or at least with autopilots that I know that can work. I haven't experimented with anything else. I don't want to quite experiment while doing the around the world part. Air Zermatt. Let's do Zermatt. Is that Hamilton? Oh yeah, Air Zermatt, operated by Hamilton. Okay, cool. But if you want to see the 145 today, or the 160, we'll do that. But I was planning on doing that once we do the water crossing next episode. Okay, 145. Something different in here. Let's see. Let's see. Variant. Let's see if a civilian has any. Cal Fire. So many jokes about Cal Fire. Yeah, let's do this. It's just different. Just don't want to do the red and black. Let's see. Do I have my water bottle here? Yep, that's definitely needed today. Let's see, save them back. way up here. Civilian side. Set as arrival. We're going to want to stop by Tenet. No, let me do flight condition first to get it good, because I hopped on yesterday because we had that gnarly storm that you saw that shut down the air traffic control, so I went and hopped up into that real quick. Let's see. This is now a paved airport, so we'll take that as a secondary stop if necessary. Which we might as well, because it's basically in line. It's just a few mile detour. Start flight. Am I allowed oxygen? How high are we going? GPS, welcome in. Oh, also one thing I did with my sim setup, which you can't see here, but I've moved a bit forward and I put like some wheel stops on my rolly chair. So I'm much closer to the pedals now, so it seems more R22-ish. 18,000, geez. How attractive are the winds at 18,000? That's the question. 40 knot. I don't know if that's worth doing all that. Let's see. Might be able to turn that sideways. Allow a wee bit of a scoot back. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. Let's see, everything's good up here. I'll have to mess with you in just a second. All that's good. Battery master. I'll have to do this with my mouse. Apologies to anybody who's a purist. Battery master. Cool. All that's looking good. All those. Standby battery on. I can hold on those. I can hold on those. Go and flick engine 1. Still on start. As soon as I see idle, we flop over to there. 40,000, 120 knots. 3,000 is not bad. Aircraft, let's see. Okay, tip traffic. This is helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. Taking off from the ramp will be put to park. Picture from the day where you said Home Depot, or did you see it another time? Let's see, so for altitude.
Alt A crossing. Alt A.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can do the thing here today, guys. Let's see, we put this down. Yeah, so for me, Monday will be my next, or technically my first, if we want to consider my last lesson my first one. Goodness, holy trim. So yeah, expect Monday between 1 and 3. I don't know when we'll get in the helicopter, but my reservation, if you'd like to call it that, is set up for 3 o'clock. Or for 1 o'clock, sorry. And I'm on the books for 1, 2, 3. So... That wind is fucking pushing us, boys. Holy crap. Definitely glad for autopilot today. This would have been a fucking handful without it. Yeah, look at the angle that we're flying. I think we may even need another click or two to the right. Welcome back, Timothy. Look at us crabbing right there. Our wind is 35 knots from the fucking right. And I don't know what pressure, altitude, or anything was. Strip on your 85 inch. Hell yeah. For 4K 60. Well, I'm not streaming in 4K 60, so best of luck. What elevation was a tea tree? What was its field elevation? Tea tree field elevation 1600. Oh, okay, so yeah, we're about right. Yeah, I was going to look at stream settings for what I put out. Because again, I'm limited partially by the fact that I'm running Starlink. And having to do this as a cloud-based game. And then also having to do it by streaming it back up. So that does limit it a bit. And I think there would also have to be upscaling, since y'all are looking at technically like the center of what my left eye sees. Since I'm left eye dominant, I could put it on right eye, but if I was doing right eye right now, you guys would be... So right now I'm looking at all the gauges and stuff, but my right eye would be seeing this right here. So it makes sense for you guys to be seeing my left side, because that's me actually looking at all the instruments and everything. Yeah, I want to see if I can get up to 1080. I think I should be able to. I've honestly never looked at the settings that much here in OBS. But if it's something I can change relatively simply and not risk any degradation of the stream, or it gets too glitchy or whatever, I'll step it up. But it's really just the balancing act of what I can and can't do with the Starlink. So there's that. Okay, we are actually kind of trending across the line now, so we can tweak our heading a little bit more straight and see if it will hold us on there. But I mean, our winds, which if you're unaware for anybody watching, the winds are what I'm looking at right here. 3 lines, 10 knots per line, so it's like 30 knots coming off the side here. Let's see. A lot of just nothing. This is a water crossing with extra stuff to look at. Yeah, I had a cool conversation with a friend today. He talked to me the other day. I haven't talked to him in a while. He owns an automotive performance shop type thing. And he said there's a guy that he knows that was asking him if he wanted to come down to Florida to work. And it was for like a speedboat type shop of building offshore racing boats. And I was like, oh, like X Insurance? And he's like, yeah, people to build boats like that. And obviously the only reason I know X Insurance is because I'm into their helicopter stuff. But he called me today, he was like, hey, got a helicopter question for you. What sort of helicopters would be best for this? What's cost of these? What would they look at for purchasing or leasing, and considerations and pros, cons, whatever. So I kind of yapped him a bit about that. Then I sent him a little list later on with like more excuse me, more written down pros and cons, because I can talk about it to you guys and you can understand about more or less about what I'm talking about. Because you're for the most part, you're helicopter people or you're aviation people, so you can understand what I'm talking about when I say an AS350. That could be an EC125 or an H125. Or if I just say A-Star, then you can kind of infer that we're looking at the A-Star family of helicopters. So yeah, I was talking to him about that. To chase the boats offshore and do camera work for the boats. So these big speed boats that are doing like 150 miles an hour, you follow them offshore to get video footage of it. Take the clients up in it to ride along and watch the boat races. Help with any sort of recovery stuff if your boat happens to crash at 150 miles an hour. As well as advertisement and stuff like that. But anyways, also the chance of building like a Baja 1000 truck, stuff like that. So yeah, so I said AS350, the EC125, H125, probably one of my top choices if I'm not looking at anything else other than just the ship itself. I was like, the MD500 like Cletus has is Blend, hello. Except me, you're here for all the off-topic stuff. But I was like the MD, it's great, but if you want to take up somebody for the photo work or like have a camera rig mounted on one of the open door sides and then also have other people in there, it becomes a slightly more cramped in the MD setups, unless you're in the 600 end. I was like the 350, H125, EC125, the A-Star family there, much more roomy. They're still very quick. There's already a lot of people who make mounts for it, although we'd probably make our own setup to handle that. But that would be one of the top choices. I was like, but of course with that you're looking anywhere from like, for a solid... Ooh, headset's messing up, that's fine. Hello Sean and Berlin, to both of you. No need to be angry, we're all happy here. Flying sideways. But yeah, I was like, so yeah, the A-Star is probably my top platform. Doesn't the EC125 exist? Wasn't there a couple of years of EC125, or was it all 350s? Anyways, the A-Star fucking family. Because I know there's the EC135. No, they just call the AS350. Okay, either way. Your mom's a bike. Anyways, I was like, that's like everything else aside, money, whatever. It's probably the best bet just for versatility, amount of parts, reliability, everything's there. That's kind of like the go-to. I was like, if you're okay with spending a little bit less money, having less room inside the helicopter for clients or anybody else riding, the MD 500, 530, or 520 would be solid. If you wanted a bit more room, the MD 600 would be good as well. I was like, if you're looking for cheap, just getting into it, something to like start working the program out and then stepping up, the 4466 would be decent. If you're not looking at putting huge weight in it, you just want something to go out there, do it, and make sure that you can do it, but they're not as fast as the other helicopters. I was like, the plus side of those is they're two rotors, just like if we were to look at like a 206, which would be slightly underpowered if you're in the Jet Ranger, but like the new 505 is decent. But all those, they're two rotor systems, so you don't have to have a hangar or a huge giant garage door. If you just have a normal RV-sized garage attached to this warehouse, where you'd be having this huge warehouse anyways to build boat hulls and assembling for those together, it's like it wouldn't be that hard to set that aside and make that worth it instead of having to rent a hangar for X amount of dollars, you know. And then it's also possible to have a person who's working on the boats and everything that's also A&P, and have them paid a bit more to be an on-staff A&P to handle anything. And then you can work on a majority of stuff there in person. Ronnie, what's going on? But yeah, so I talked to him about that and kind of gave like options and pros and cons of everything, and like kind of what you would be looking at and what would be needed to sustain a program like that. So yeah, it's a guy I've known forever, so good little networking way back can turn into something later. Oh, okay, you missed all of that? What part did you leave on? 116 miles. Yeah, EC125. So yeah, I know the EC135, 145 is real, so I was kind of defaulting and thinking the 125 was also included in something that had a Eurocopter designation, and that wasn't the old AS350, because I think the AS designation came from Aeropostale or whatever back when A-Star was first made by them, right? I think that's where it first came from. But anyways, I told him 350 would be best bet, like 1.5 to 3 million if you're buying something newish. The R44 are solid for starting out and getting used to having a program, and then you can step up to something later. Benefit of the R Robinsons is 2 blades, so you can stick it inside the shop and not have to do hangar rental or anything like that. You can have a easier way to store it inside of a building that's not at an airport, as long as you can have a good flight path in and out. The same would go with like a Bell 206. For that, it'd obviously be an L, just to be able to put more people and have more weight. But newer than that, and probably a bit better. People are already launching fireworks. It's not even July yet. Okay, so yeah, it did start with them. But the 505 is a solid option too. I've been watching a lot of stuff on it recently, and I do like it. I do like the 505. Still getting used to the looks of it, but there's a lot of people who are really getting some good stuff done with it. So that would be an option. The 505, also 2 blades, so it fits in a easier garage without having to do hangar rental or anything crazy. Then you can have an A&P mechanic work at the boat place. And then the MDs would be great if you're not worried about backseat seating area, or you get the MD 600 and have more seating area back there. And they're also super cool. But with that, NOTARs are kind of hard to find parts for now, sadly. At least for their tail boom and stuff like that. But 600s are cool. But with those, of course, they're not super wide. They have a relatively small rotor diameter. But you still, with 3 blades or like the 5 blades like the MDs and stuff, you need a wider door. Heavy all the time? Probably not. I would assume pilot, co-pilot, 2 people in the back, and some sort of camera equipment. Whether that's on the front, mounted. Did anyone answer my question? I wasn't listening, Ronnie. Oh, what are we flying? We are flying the 145. Kind of sideways as we're going, because the wind is coming hard from our right. But today's basically a water crossing, just without the water. There's a whole bunch of nothing. Sorry about that, Ronnie. Got kind of lost up in everything. But I wouldn't say fully loaded, well within payload. But that's something I brought up to him as well. It was like, if you want to have the extra people in there, you need to consider the fact that, sure, if it's just like 1 or 2 people, like 1 pilot and 1 person doing camera with camera stuff in the back, it's not as heavy as some of the other ones would be with like 4 people in there and camera stuff. But for the most part, boat racing is done where it's kind of fucking hot and humid, which isn't the best for DA. So that's something to be concerned about, or not concerned about, but to think about. Still pretty heavy, yes. But I will say this from the film industry experience, the 350 platform is super, super solid. Just about fucking everywhere to be used as a camera ship. Typically it'll be the pilot, the co-pilot, or somebody in the co-pilot position doing camera operation, and then either 1 or 2 people in the back. like a director and a director of photography or something like that. Usually. And I've seen them do like that fucking Fred North everywhere, you know, fucking Morocco, Miami, like fucking anywhere hot he's fucking flown a pretty fucking loaded A-star. But of course they've got a new version with all the newest power and everything, so that's something to consider. But yeah, I told him with the R44, I was like, you could do the gas piston engine. It would work, but it would only be you'd really only want 2 people in there. Just that way you can keep the lightweight and not have to worry about the hot and heavy. You're rarely moving slow, so you really shouldn't be worried about like hovering out of ground effect too much. But it could happen. And you want to be available for that, you know, like, okay, cool, like even though you're at sea level, you know, you do your calculations and stuff, and guess what, sea level at 115 degrees outside with like 98% humidity, guess what, you know, your elevation's kind of higher than what it is without, you know. But yeah, I definitely said you probably want to shoot turbine if you're doing something like this, and if they have that sort of money. Anyways, you know, this is a guy with millions of dollars to put up on the line to build a racing offshore boat shop. You know, you really don't do that unless you have money. Offshore boat racing is just a big way to throw away money. So he's obviously well off, so I'm not going to be like, oh, well, just get this, you can afford it, because you don't get to a point of being well off if you just throw away money all the time. You have to be smart with it at some point. But yeah, fingers crossed, A-star, that would be best option, but I also do kind of like the idea of a 505, just for the ability to pull in and park it at the warehouse with a smaller door and pull it in on a little heli cart and park it there. Budget unknown, but I would assume it's high because these boats are fucking $800,000 starting off anyways. And he wants to build a race boat manufacturing empire, because there's really nobody who just builds the boats. There's like Mystic, but they build it for sport and everything as well, not purely sporting or for recreational. But they're looking to build something like very specific to racing. Like how NASCAR drivers all go to like the same shop to get their chassis and cars kind of built up, and then they do all the little shit themselves. They're looking to be like a full service type, buy your race boat from here sort of deal. So it would be sick if it works out. That's something really, really fucking cool. Even if they do like leasing in the beginning, just to see what the air program would be like to have a program like that. But it's still all very, very fresh. They don't have the warehouse yet, but they're looking at getting a like 100,000 square foot warehouse to build into something where, you know, products come in one side and a boat comes out the fucking other side. Oh yeah, blade folding, that's a thing. A lot of the A-stars that do film work, they fold up and go into a trailer. It's just less steps, obviously, to just put it in there, park the rotor forward, backward, pull it in. And I think they have MD subs with folding blades, but it was like experimented with way back in the day, but they're not a super common thing. Yeah, so I told him that, and I was like, look, you know, I'm commercial by the fucking time comes, and the insurance is at a point to where it could be, could work for somebody with a lower hour count like me. As long as I'm commercial, then I'd gladly interview for it. But he's already kind of soft-talked to me about other jobs there as well. About getting people he trusts to Because he already helps with one shop down there in Florida. Not boat related, car related. But he's asked me before, like, what it would cost for me to be down there to run the shop. And he knows I definitely want out of the film industry. Yeah, and I don't know how often something like that would be used. I don't know how often somebody like X Insurance. No, I'll just keep using them because they're my one like example that I'm most familiar with. I don't know how often they use it and what it's been marked for business reasons and stuff. Like, obviously they use it for the as a chase thing, and that would be somewhere like offshore racing. Anywhere around where that goes. I've seen them fly some of their helicopters out west, like Havasu and Lake of the Ozarks, and other places around America when there's other boat races, so they can go out there and do following for that, for their speed runs. So it would travel a bit, and they do cross-country flights with that. They don't trailer it. But I don't know what its in between is. It's not a... It's obviously not like you're doing medical stuff where like, okay, cool, you're getting a call every day. It's... Is the wind calming out? Nope. Still 3 tick marks. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to consider about it. And even if they don't get a helicopter immediately for it, you know, there's still a chance that they want to talk to me about doing shop or facility management or something like that, which would be something neat to get into, you know. Boats are fucking cool, you know, anything to be near the water and in the sunshine and shit like that. Working in a super clean, like, built from scratch facility where it's like, cool, they buy a warehouse that's been built and they put everything they want to in there, and to be a part of the excuse me, the building and the assembly of that, where it's like, okay, cool, we're going to need X amount of room, so these come in, then we can move the assembly line this way, blah blah blah. You know, boats come in, we'll say this whole dash is the thing, like, cool, you can bring them in here, then they can go this way, and you can snake it through or have a way to where it comes through then back. You know, it's getting all that set up, getting all the machinery ordered, you know, the different sections set up for, you know, like composite manufacturing and machining, rapid prototyping for 3D printing and development, working with all the people that will be getting all that built and headhunting people for that shit. You know, it'd be fucking cool. It'd be really, really cool. And it's like, I'm not going to go and claim that I'm some sort of engineer or something. That's not my background, you know. I'm not going to claim, like, cool, I'm a hydrodynamicist that can build you the best and fastest boat, because obviously I'm not. I don't have that history, won't claim to. But I'm pretty good at keeping shit running. I'm pretty good at observing a whole bunch of projects going on, keeping everything on track, working on all the stuff, so that way the other people don't have to worry about it. You know, hey, we need this part, this machine, this machine, this machine. Like, okay, cool, we'll get it going. We'll make it ordered, we'll get the supplies in, we'll get everything you need, and we'll start the production process. Yeah, B3, obviously. Because that's the best option for the hot and heavy, you know. Hot, humid, and heavy. 87 nautical miles left. Oh yeah, which normal 350s are good, but the B3 would be splendid. And again, it's one of those things where if you're able to just straight up go for the most optimal thing, that would be the way to go. but also for a company that's starting out, is it best product? Is it best practice of money being spent to go straight to that? Probably not. To get an earlier 350, you know, it may not have all the power, but it still has the room, so you can start concepting and getting everything figured out. So by the time you step up to the Echo, you know, it's there. You go. You're more ready. You're already pretty settled on that platform to where you're familiar with how the A-Stars handle. Like I said, I mean, if you don't want to jump in and spend $1 billion fucking starting out, it's probably smarter to not have that money tied up in a $2 million helicopter when you're just putting your first boats out, unless you're really, really looking for that other people looking at you going like, okay, cool, this company means business here. Then I could see it. You know, then it would be slightly more understandable. But I'm not going to say super, super understandable. There's like 5 or 6 teams that are running fucking Robbies out there. X Insurance happens to be pretty popular and have a lot of money, so they have an MD, I don't know, it's a 530 or 500, and an A-Star. So they're obviously big hitters. And the way he was telling me about this company as well, or the view for this shop, it would definitely step up to the point one day to where having a B3 would definitely be, or a B3E would definitely be in the cards eventually, for what their plans are, because it's not just going to be a personal shop. Like I said, it wants to do customer boats and stuff like that. But it's exciting. I'd like to see it happen, even if I have nothing to do with it. At least I know the people doing it, and it's a cool fucking thing to see from the outside, you know? And who knows, maybe my suggestions will help get them into something pretty solid and doing what they wanted to do, and then in 4 years, whoever was flying for them moves on and they call me. Blackhawk would be ideal. Yeah, because you can just roll them into wherever you want to park it, you know, they have the wheels already on them. Easy. Well, in that case, we just get a fucking Bell 222B, the 222 Bravo. 2 blades, so you can park it in the normal garage. Excuse me. And wheels, so you can just roll it in there. Easy as. And for anybody that's going, oh my god, he's coughing into the mic, it would either be me not streaming for a week, or you hearing a cough every few minutes, and I kind of wanted to hurry up and start getting us out of Australia, because I feel like we've been in here for a month now. And I'd like to get more around the world, so it doesn't seem like we're still not even halfway through yet at 50 days. So, gonna do some pushing here these next 5 streams, just to put some miles on it, so we're back on mainland Asia, starting to actually head west again. Yeah, so that's what that was about. Like I said, obviously no hard offer. I'm not a fucking licensed pilot. I'm just not commercial. But I'm into it enough where I have a good idea of what to look for, considerations to take, and I know people who are brokers and everything, so the S-70 is a civilian Black Hawk, or you just get the Black Hawk. The Firehawk is what fucking Cal Fire calls theirs. Honestly, I would just find a Lima Black Hawk and get it, and then have it refitted than trying to buy a fucking S-70. It'd probably end up being cheaper, being military surplus, and the Limas have the good fucking engines in them. Where it's like, what, like 1,200 horsepower or 1,300 horsepower a piece. Might even be more. But I know a lot of people, when they get a Hawk, even if they don't get a Lima model, like a Heavy D's isn't a Lima, but I want to say he went out and looked for Lima engines and either got them and he's putting it in during its next downtime, or they bought 1 or 2 more Hawks with the intention of taking the engines out of one where it had a worse body and putting it in the nicer bodied one to up it to the Lima power plants. But yeah, the Lima birds, they're pretty fucking cool. I forget who it was, but on one of the episodes of the helicopter podcast, they were talking about flying the Black Hawk, doing stuff like firework, and how nice it was because they had an engine go out in one of theirs. I don't even think they were in the Lima. I think they had like a... It was an earlier model for sure. But they were like, it was so nice because when the one engine went out, we went through the process, but we were down in a hole from where they had gone down to get water, and they were still able to gain altitude, fly up out of the hole, and fly back to the nearest whatever place that would actually be convenient, and not just like sit down in a field somewhere. So yeah, super, super cool. I mean, they were designed by people who wanted them to get people home safely. So it's a good thing. So I can keep typing in airspeed, but it's not going to give it to me. It's working slightly as a tailwind for us, though. We're at 120 ground. It's only indicating like, what, 110 air? So, not bad. Not bad. Oh. Let's see. I just click the G button to turn on like where I can see airports and stuff. The one out in front of us is still 70 miles away, so it's not popping up. Got something small over to the right over there. It's like 35 miles away, something like that. Turn that off. Well, see, the military use thing is always weird for me because people are like, oh, dude, it's mil spec. I'm like, cool, it's the lowest bidder. But the Blackhawks are one of those things where it actually turned into like, okay, cool, these are fucking solid pieces of equipment. Like, they're not fucking terrible. Especially the newer ones, you know, the newer Limas and stuff, they were fucking solid. Good power and everything. So 68 nautical miles at 122 ground speed, so yeah. About 32, 33 minutes till first checkpoint. This is Star 2024 just parked you. U.S. surplus or Australian surplus? trying 6 hour drive. That's not too far. 6 hours isn't bad. That's how long it takes for me. Actually, shorter time, or slightly longer time for me to get to the beach I prefer going to. I think I'm at like 5 hours down to the beach I like. Or the beach area, at least, you know. David Silver, welcome to the stream. Yes, we will be flying over the ocean. We have done some already as well. So if you look on my big map here, we actually started in the good old US of A. We came up through Alaska. We came to this point here and we did this water crossing right there. As we came down, we kind of did like a long water crossing island jump thing here. There was nowhere to stop though, so that was kind of just like flying over the ocean for 4.5, 5 hours. We did another ocean water crossing right here, leaving Japan. Did a whole bunch of little jumps and stuff as we crossed through the Philippines. Little jump here. Tomorrow, or the next stream, we'll be doing this jump right here. Little more jumps going up to the islands and stuff. Getting up into Europe. We'll have a little jump over the Mediterranean. Our biggest jumps coming up, though, eventually will be the UK to this little island, that little island, Iceland, there to Greenland, Greenland to Canada, back down, and then we're actually going to do the Caribbean islands and stuff as well, and work our way back up into America to finish off where we started. But yeah, we do cross water, but we're trying to do it, for lack of better terms, as realistically as possible. So we don't want to just do a 15, 17 hour flight over water because we don't have the, we wouldn't have the fuel, obviously, to go from here all the way to Hawaii. So we're trying to do a realistic path around the Earth for what a helicopter would do if somebody were to do the to do that for themselves. So I hope that makes sense. Excuse me. 12,000 total time. I was about to say, where are they asking, but it's an auction, so could go for some, could go for a lot. Just kind of, it depends on who bids on it. Hey, if you get it for cheap enough, though, that's worth it. Yep, glad it makes sense for you. But, yeah, I mean, as you can see, we're day 44 into doing this. Because Tom here in the chat is from Australia, we decided to do an Australia leg, which has added like 15 days onto the total flight, or to the total course. But we're doing it, you know? That's all fun. You don't think it's airworthy? Robert, welcome back in. I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. I'll tell you what, if I did it in a real helicopter, I would need a lot more money. Unless someone wants to come out and sponsor me a trip around the world, it's not going to happen. And if I did, sorry Tom, but I'm not coming down to Australia, because I'd be looking to do this trip relatively as quick as possible. And even though I wouldn't just be doing 2 to 3 hour stints every day, it'd be more like 8 to 10 hour flights every day, I would still much rather get it done quickly. And flying through Papua New Guinea just seemed like a pain. Whole bunch of not a lot of stuff through Papua New Guinea. Where I think, like everywhere else that we're going through, there's like consistently decent airports and stuff to stop at, but going through PNG, there was nothing. And I know most places down there that host helicopters, they're all just missionaries or buildings or stuff like that. So they don't have any real facilities to support anything outside of themselves. Which also makes parts and everything super difficult as well if something were to go wrong. Yeah, I would do an around the world thing. It would obviously be what is it, like 251 hours if you do like the optimal path? Or what did Pilot Yellow do it in? Because they did it in R66. Do it in a 22. I honestly think it would be impossible in the 22 unless you had stuff set up in the ocean for refueling points. I mean, it would be impossible in the 22 unless you had stuff set up for refueling points, and you'd be doing it alone too, because there's no way with any sort of passenger that you can make any sort of fucking time or distance on anything. I'll tell you what though, if I do get a 22 for personal use, I will do an America tour in real life. I'll try to hit all 48 contiguous states at least. That'd be a neat thing to do. So once the beef popcorn blows up, you Richard, around the world maybe. We'll see. I'm actually working on packaging stuff right now. I think I've figured out what I want to do packaging wise. I just haven't gone full scale with it yet. Still kind of concepting and testing everything a bit. 124 nautical miles, or 124 knots. 50 nautical miles left. But yeah, even right now I'm looking at decent day trips to do with a rented 22 or a rented 44. For example, twice a year, I believe there's a big swap meet for car stuff. Mostly like old car stuff, classic American muscle stuff. We usually go down there just to look. We don't really buy anything. Sometimes I'll find little things there for cheap that I'll snag, but nothing big where it's like we really needed to take the truck down. And it's only like a 1 tank of gas, a 3-hour drive down there. So it's a bit, but it's not terrible. But we're looking at the viability of, or we're going to ask, well, at least once I'm licensed, what the rules are for helicopter rental. Which Tom, you might be able to elaborate on this a bit, just for whatever you know. But if I want to rent a helicopter for the entire day, let's say we leave at 7 in the morning and we get back at 8 o'clock at night. I'm obviously not flying it for 13 hours. It's really going to be like an hour and 10 minutes down and an hour and 10 minutes back, if that. So I want to figure out like what a full day rental on it is, where you're not filling up the hours. It's possible until the Greenland-Iceland crossing, then it's not possible. So I'll basically just fly all the way from here, or all the way from Georgia, all the way to the UK, and then I'm like, dang it, this isn't going to work. Then I'll just turn around and go back. Fine, I'll just go back the way I came. Your dog's barking at fireworks. Wonder why they're doing it now. Because it's next weekend. Or really next Friday. So yeah, like it'd be a neat thing to rent the helicopter to go down there, because this swap meet takes place literally on the same property as the airport down in Moultrie, Georgia. It used to be like a big training airport back in like World War II. Usually it's just an hourly rate, and most have a minimum amount of hours you have to hire the helicopter for. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It was like, cool, you're gone for a day, you're paying for 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever. Makes sense. Because if not, it could be there at the school or at the rental place making 4 or 5 rentals throughout the day, depending on how many people are trying to use it. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, that's something that we're going to talk about, because it's like, okay, cool, if it's a 44, then we can split the cost 4 ways, and I'll still be legally allowed to do that per the FAA private rules. Which luckily I think I'm the I'm the heaviest out of my dad's old man friend group. So they're all like 150, 160, so it wouldn't be too bad taking everybody up with it and having the old men split the cost with me. So instead of it being a $1,500 day, it's only a $450 day. The big cool thing would be also, I don't know what this place's rules are for off-airport landings, or if it has to be at an airport if it's a rented, or if it is an off-airport, it has to be an approved off-airport. Because it'd be really neat to look at different restaurants that are mildly in the flight path on the way back up. Which I know some schools it's no off airports, and which understandable completely. I get it, because then it's like, cool, no big deal. We stop at a fucking. We can either eat there, because there's plenty of food at these things. Just eat there and fly back. It's only a short fly back. So it's not like we're going to get hungry on the ride. But there are a couple of restaurants that I've spotted that would be neat. And definitely accessible to fly into. Like one of them's on a river. It looks like it has enough room. Which I'm actually driving kind of down that way soonish. So I may make a list of a few places to spend an extra hour and swing out of my way to see like what it looks like, and see if the owner's there where I can talk to him and be like, hey, you know, I've got a helicopter that I'll probably be flying this way in November. Would it be possible to land out here? Yep, Matty LP, he's done it. He also does have confirmation from all of his all the places he goes. He doesn't just go and land somewhere and, hey, look at me, I flew a helicopter, just like the QT or whatever that he went to, where he got the Danny Duncan's energy drink shot thing. Like, he had permission from that gas station, the sushi place he went recently, the little town where he lands to go get the barbecue from that one guy. They're all people he talks to and he has advanced permission from. I was actually talking to him earlier today. Because of the friend's company potentially looking at purchasing or whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give them your number so that way you can handle that, since I know he works for Celicopter, or he's one of the brokers for Celicopter. It's cool. Reach out to. I gave them his information, him their information. So hopefully they can talk and figure out the process of either buying something or figuring out somebody who's leasing, and then even then it's a good contact, because the company, the way I see it, will be purchasing one day anyways. So, good contact. And Maddie's cool. I've talked to him a bit. He gave me suggestions for the sim setup as far as what to practice, what I needed to be doing, the bigger things to look at as far as, for lack of better terms, just the raw skill of flying. The actual moving your hands and feet and everything. He gave me things to practice and stuff like that when I first got into doing this. Because obviously, really doing all the ground school stuff now, it feels like 90% of flying is all, or getting your license at least, is the book work. You know, like understanding the weather stuff that they need you to understand, understanding all the federal processes. Like it's like every single book that I have is like multiple hundred pages of this and that and all the rules and like intricacies of this, and it like very little seems to be like, okay, cool, like out of your 40 hours of flight school, even though you'll be piloting for 40 hours, it's like 39 of those hours you'll be in there like being lectured about all the bookwork, schoolwork stuff. So either way, you know, it's a fucking thing. And speaking of that, I've got not the 360 version, but I have like the GoPro equivalent of the Insta360, where I can wear it as like the little pill-shaped camera. The downside of those is there is no external microphone, but this means I get to dual channel record. So I'm 3D printing and designing a little chest mount for it, because I want to put like a pen, pencil, marker, one of my little pen flashlights. How long left on this leg? We have 29 nautical miles, which means we should have a little pin up in front of us. Yep. Yeah, so I want to have a little chest thing so I can put a pen, like marker, pencil, a little pen light, or some little like administrative light, or really pen lights, that way I can look at stuff like doing if I'm pre-flighting early in the morning or whatever, so I can look into things. No, not the GoPro. I had gotten the Insta360 Go 3 because I wanted that little detachable pill thing where it's almost the size of like this little part of the collective right there, and it's got the camera built into that where you can pop it off the big rectangle bit. You can look up Insta360 Go 3. You've got a phone, you're smart. Yeah, I've got one of those because I wanted the little hidden camera size thing for another project I've been working on. That sounds bad, but it's not. It's just doing like undercover shopper stuff at like garage sales and estate sales and antique places, buying weird things and trying to flip them. And it's nice to have that little camera where you're not like intrusively walking into somebody's place with whatever. Anyways, so I have that, but they don't have a thing for an external mic. So I bought an external audio recorder that I can hook up with an adapter, so I can run it into my headset jack and do that. So hopefully I'll be able to get audio recording of radio chatter and comms and whatever else. And I will be talking to the instructor Monday for this lesson to ask, like, cool, what's the viability of me? Am I able to record lessons? Like, I'm obviously not going to be posting a 40-hour long series of how to get your helicopter license and fly. Like, that's not my place to be, you know? But it was like, I do want to document it for myself because I think it's a cool thing. Yeah, I've got the black one, but yeah, the little white one. So it has like a GoPro-sized rectangular housing with a flip-up screen on the back, which is fucking cool. But also that little camera pill type thing pops out. But yeah, so I'm going to see if they'll let me record while I'm doing the lesson stuff, because I want to do a... I don't say a video review, because I don't want to review them. I'm not going to like 50 different flight schools and reviewing 50 different fucking flight schools to see who has the better instructors or whatever, but I would like to do like a compilation thing eventually, you know, like, cool, here's like one of my first approaches, here's like my first auto rotation. Exact. And like I'd like to make some sort of thing like that. And they'll let me record, that's sick, because then I can do audio and then have also just like cockpit sounds and stuff as well through the camera. My own headset yet? No. Just planning on using the school's headsets for right now. Not because I don't want my own headset, but it's a little bit of like, I don't know which one I would want. Actually, Matt just messaged me back. Which he said Bose are the Lightspeed Zulus. I wasn't sure if their ANR was ANR. So yeah, Lightspeed or Bose is most likely which way I was going. I was looking at some of the live stream myself training. See, like H20, A30s, they're nice, but like I also don't know if I want to spend $1,500 on a fucking headset yet. But I do get that they are worth it. But I'm also looking at different things to do with those as well. Because I would like to have a helmet one day. And if it's something where I can install my Boses in the helmet, or if the helmet already comes with them pre-installed, then I'm double spending, and then I don't want to spend fucking $2,500 on a helmet with these things installed, and then still have another pair left over. You know, there's different... do I want to do this, do that? You know, like I'm trying to spend money as wisely as possible. But yeah, I've heard the noise canceling is good on the Boses. I wasn't sure if they played super friendly with like the door off noise of being in a Robinson R22 with the engine like a foot and a half behind you with the door off. Because it was relatively noisy in the Robbie, obviously, because of what it is. So I wasn't sure the Boses were more, if their active noise reduction was good for something like this, where you're in the 145 and it's a calmer, less just like sort of cockpit, you know. I didn't know if maybe the other ones would be better in that condition, or if both would do good, or if they were kind of more optimized for the disgustingly noisy. Most helmets don't come with headsets installed. Yeah, because it's kind of like, cool, pick whichever headset you want to do in there, and then we have adapters to put the cups in, or whatever, you know. A million different things, a million different ways. Yeah, so I'd like a helmet eventually. So I'm also looking at, is it something where I can take the A20s or A30s and install those into it? Or Also, I'm not sure what the schools, what I want to say, what their, because I obviously want to do night vision stuff on it, because I do have my own night vision set up. That way, if I do want to fly at night under night vision, and I don't want to use their particular stuff, if I could bring my own, and then until then, if I can use my tactical helmet, but if I could have a headset that I could adapt to my tactical helmet, that would be fucking sick. Which my current helmet actually uses helicopter plugs, or my current ear stuff uses helicopter plugs, but I don't think they'll work for actual helicopter stuff. I don't believe. What's the big difference between A20 and A30? I know A30 is the newer version, but I think A20s even have Bluetooth models. So, is it worth the fucking $300 or $400 jump up to the 30s? Hey, we're close. What is that? 11 miles? Tennant Creek traffic says helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey, call sign Fuckwagon. We are 10 miles to your southwest, inbound for the ramp. Gonna steal some fuel, a woman, and we're gonna be out of your hair. Tennant Creek traffic. A30 better noise comes from there. They all come with Bluetooth options. Okay. I've seen some risky things about the marketplace A20s, A30s. Apparently a whole bunch of people run scams on that stuff. And that may only be the people shipping you a headset, where they're like, okay, cool, yeah, we're selling a set of A20s for $500, pay it to us or whatever, but I don't know what the rip-off market looks like on those. Which the ones we used are the ones that look like that. I won't say Christopher Ward, but that's a watch brand. But I know it's something similar to that. You know, if you don't want to donate money, you can always just send me a set of A30s. That works too. I would also accept that. Super chats? No, I want everybody to send me a set of A30s. Buy some in person and don't get someone to ship them. Also, aren't the plugs different where I have to find somebody with the helicopter set? I know that's a big thing with the plug types. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab my cyclic back. No. Okay, don't mind me. Oh, fuck me. That's what I get for sitting super, super close to my... Like I said, I try to make my setup more, what you want to call it. Fuck me, what are you doing? Cool, we're going to take off all the autopilot stuff. Where's my mouse? Fuck me, what are you doing? There you go, that's all released. All released. You're all good now. That's why I don't like setting autopilot at 1,000 fucking feet, because taking it off is fucking terrifying. Not yet. which for anybody watching that was curious why that was so fucking terrifying, was I'm using a Robinson R44 control setup, so it's a T-handle, so my cyclic's not dead between my legs. It's by my left knee, and it's got a T-handle that comes across and down like a Robinson helicopter. Whenever I'm in autopilot, I can't hold the cyclic because that would mess up all the autopilot type functions or whatever, so I have to let it dangle, and it doesn't hold its place. It actually falls down. It just kind of hangs straight down. So when I'm picking up the handle from sitting down like this and up over my leg, it moves everything, and that's when it becomes a huge fucking pain. I think next time we do that, we'll take off the autopilots first, so I'm not trying to fight them doing stuff. That would make a lot of sense to me. Or that sounds like it makes sense. Okay, cool. Feel free to randomly disappear whenever you need to.
Hands on.
Yeah, I know. I literally don't want autopilot on. Almost went back to your tit. Damn right. Plus side is, once we leave here, we should be a bit more tailwind friendly instead of just immediate wind coming off of our left or off of our right. We'll do a little right pattern to come in on the ramp over here. Because we have a massive tailwind right here. I'd rather fly into that. What is this fucking forklift doing? Oh, let's just park exactly where I want to go. Fucking idiot. Okay, blah 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 blah. Anyway, yeah, most people use bows. Save fuel. My fuel button not work now? Oh, there we go. Just takes a second to load in. Okay, everything's back to good. Fucking lady in a forklift. Gross. A 20 knot headwind helping us out there. Kind of using that to our advantage a wee bit. Okay, altitude chasing, 3,000, I'm happy with that. Vertical speed down a bit. Happy with that heading. Nope. The fuck are you doing? Why are you fighting me so much? Jesus. Can't move my fucking thing a quarter inch without it freaking out. So the 160 has a thing where it says like non-centering or whatever. So right now it's not picking up on me. I don't know. Do a flip, basically. Hope you're good. I'm readjusting my body, trying to be in a place where I can let this handle slowly go down. Maximum speed, shut up. Yeah, I'm aware. Nope, no need for that. Nope, nope. This is it, boys. First real reset. Why are you not even fucking registering anything I'm doing right now? What the hell? Yep, that's a reset. I don't know what it's doing right now. Do what the vans is doing. Let's see, where was that? Tennant Creek. $145 is pissing me off now. I'd rather fucking hand fly it for another 2 hours and sit with that shit. There was somewhere I was looking up here. Dolly Waters, yeah. We need to set our other place first. Says arrival. Dally. Yep, finally, you guys get a reset. Which the 160, like I said, the 160 has a thing where it's... Like, you saw me looking at the tablet. Because there's a setting with it where it says, like, cool, you don't have a self-centering... self-centering cyclic. And it even says, like, non-self-centering on the thing. Yeah, we've gone long enough with the entire fucking thing. I was hoping not to have one, which that was a system malfunction, but that was also me using it wrong, but that wouldn't have happened in real life because I wasn't trying to be like setting all my shit to the side so I could move my knee out of the way of it. Because if I just let it hang, it fucking slides down. I wish there was a way for you guys to see it. But yeah. Real life, that wouldn't have happened. That's just the 145's autopilot system not being friendly with my controls. Come on, where's my mouse at? Fuel pump. Sand filter, yeah, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Tick, 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 tick. But yeah, so for those of you who are still confused, my control comes up here. There's a T-bar that goes to the side, then it comes down. And it kind of hangs off like, kind of like this. So I have to take my setup and let it hang down like this, which means I have to move my left knee out of the way, which means I do all this weird movement shit trying to move my fucking left knee. And, and yeah, that happens. But I'll gladly eat that crash because once again I know it wasn't me just doing something like fucking drastically wrong, you know. It wasn't like I was flying dangerously through a canyon and accidentally caught a fucking wall, because I'd be mad at myself for that, you know. Or like all the invisible shit that was plaguing earlier episodes here in Australia, where there's like the invisible whatever you can run into. Like, yeah, cool, I'm not going to get mad about that because I didn't do anything wrong. Feel that wind coming from the right. Cool, cool, cool. Friends with the wind. Yeah, 160 would be easy. I don't say easy, but it would be much more well suited to that because it has the easy settings that says non-self-centering cyclic or whatever. But that one there, it just, I don't know why it wanted to fucking find me. I was able to get it figured out on the way up that first leg, like we were in autopilot the entire fucking way. But something with it, I don't know, just me moving the stuff just enough to where it wasn't fucking happy. And then with the other stuff turned on, it didn't want to take my corrections either. Which is dumb, because it's like, hey, let's, we'll put you in autopilot. But because you're in autopilot, if you move your hands, you're taking it out of autopilot, so the autopilot's not going to work. It's like, okay, cool, you touch the cyclic or collective or pedals or anything, you know, you're not going to be in autopilot anymore, so beware. I put my hands on the cyclic or collective, and then it doesn't give me the fucking controls back. Or, you know what I think it is? The yoke with the engine stick. That was obviously what it was. I think what it was is I had feet off of the pedals and the collective, and I think me doing that I was only trying to work. I was basically flying by holding my left hand on the vertical, the center post for the T-handle. And I think when I was doing that, it was trying to compensate the other two movements. So instead of turning all of the autopilots off when it sensed something touching it, it only turned off my hands. So when it was doing this, it was trying to like hard right pedal to correct heading, and it was losing altitude, so it was trying to throw super heavy cyclic in to do whatever. So I think if all the autopilots were to have turned off for that, then it probably would have been savable, but all the other two controls were not self-turning off. So, yeah. Silly mistake, pilot fatigue. You know, it happens. Now that we're at heading 348, do we have any favorable winds, or are we just kind of keeping it 2,000, 3,000 feet? Confuse the yoke for the engine stick. Ground speed 150 knots, I'll fucking take it. It means a little bit more than an hour currently. At least up here to Daily, whatever it's called. Yeah, we hadn't even made it this far yet, so I'm not too worried about it. Not a huge loss. But what I will do on my next time I'm flying the 145, not on stream, I'll experiment with that some and see which settings are friendly for my non-self-centering setup. Best 3000. Cool. Climb and maintain. Oh yeah, so I'm making the custom little chest thing where I can mount my external sound recorder that plugs into the whatever, has a couple little pins, markers, lights, or whatever on it. Which really I don't need to put those on there, because I'm also making a custom knee board, or leg board. Because I want to get an iPad mini. Because obviously flying in the Robinson, you don't really have big places for big glass or like mounting up like a big fucking iPad or whatever. And even then I don't really trust the window suction cup mounts or any of those. So I'm making a custom knee board with like a quad lock type setup on it. And I can put the pins and markers in that. But I want to have it where the knee board can fold up or flip away or whatever to have paper copies of stuff there as well. And then the pins and whatever else. It's going to be the quick, like magnetic but solid locking quick disconnects called Fidlocks, Fidlock. Really, really cool, like little magnetic clips things. I really, really like them. But my friend who makes tactical belt stuff, Sean, if he's still in here, he's going to be helping out with that. He'll be my little helper getting that, or at least the sewing straps and little hardware things figured out. I've got some more camera mounting screws where it's kind of like a normal screw. You can use a screwdriver, but it also has a little D-ring on it so you can use your finger to tighten it down. Because that'll mount my camera and the mic on my chest thing that I'm printing and designing. The kneeboard one I haven't figured out quite the way that I'm going to design it yet, but I have an idea, you know. It's not going to be fucking figure out. We use a clipboard cut down with the Garmin Flight GPS and quad lock. Yeah. Pretty simple setup. I'm a very self-sustaining type person, and I like to be able to have my entire setup with me and keep it like as light and simple as possible. Plus, even if they do have like good suction mounts to the windows and stuff, if you take it on and off every single time, then it becomes less reliable. So that's why I want to have it on my leg right here. And I'll have it installed and designed or built a way where it's more or less modular, and I can not run ForeFlight for when I'm doing all my flight training and stuff like that, because I want to keep it as old school paper as I can, just to be knowledgeable in that. Oh yeah, they have the Garmin shit too. Yeah, I've seen those. But yeah, I want to stay as paper learning as possible, just because it's, I don't want to say better, but I want to have that knowledge really, really sunk in if there is some sort of electrical issue. But kind of part of my little thing is too, what I But I enjoy making and like creating and designing and optimizing little things. So if I make this thing modular to where at least the leg part is comfortable and the way it attaches is comfortable, then I can easily start changing all the different setups with it, where it holds the map easier or holds the checklist or something, you know, like little things to make life easier, but without making extra steps also. That's the thing. Like, I've had a couple of different friends bring like business or product or app ideas to me to run it by me for help developing or whatever. And for me, it's like, cool, the idea or whatever is this thing that you brought me, it's good, but it requires me to change something, and I don't like that. I don't want to change the way that I live to bring your product into my life. Kind of like a weird good example was a company called Core Performance, QORE. There was a military contract or something that they got where they were to invent a system to help keep a soldier cooler, but they could not add any extra weight to what the soldiers were already carrying. And you can think like, okay, cool, how the fuck do you do that? What they did, they turned the soldiers' camelbacks into like a hard plastic camelback that you would put water in and freeze it. And the amount of energy transferred between like your body and that was like huge, being able to pull the heat away from you and keep you cool. And then as it melted, you just drank it, you know. That's kind of the same concept. Like, hey, you know, it's I want to do this, but I don't want to change my ways. I don't want to do anything extra. So I want to design this cool knee board, leg board thing, and I have some pretty cool ideas for it where it could end up being a product for like the few people who need one. But I don't want to make it where like, okay, cool, well, you need to bolt in your this and bolt on this and blah 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 blah, and then it becomes too fucking much, you know. Let's see, general. Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you know 5 minutes before I go live, don't worry. I honestly didn't look at my phone before I went live. I was finishing up my workout, turned on the computer, got the thumbnail made. 153 knots, hell yeah, faster than that fucking piece of shit 145. Yeah, make myself a cool little knee board. I think that'll be fun. Like, I was looking at different chest things that already exist. Like the Conterra chest setups, because those already exist for the medical EMS world. They're called like spare radio harnesses or something like that. And don't get me wrong, it's appealing. It looks like it's something that could work or be adapted. But what I'm wanting to do is also so very hyper specific that I don't want to add any crazy extra things here or there with it. So I'm just letting it ride, you know. I'll just do it myself. And I ordered a really, really cool light that I'm excited to use. Because I also know, like, if you're doing a night flight, you obviously don't want to ruin your night vision by using super, super bright lighting whenever you're doing something. So if you look up a Princeton Tech switch rail. I ordered one of those, and it's almost like the size of a CR 2032 battery, which I think is what runs it. So like a quarter-sized coin battery. It's almost the size of one of those. It fits bigger because it has to house the battery. It clips onto like the rail of a rifle, so that Picatinny rail style, which I can print onto anything I want to. And it has like dim red and dim white lights. It's like, shit, I can use the fucking red light setting on it if I'm doing a night flight and getting all set up in the helicopter. I can use that without having to like use other fucking weird steps I have to hold, or I can just have that pre-mounted to my chest or my hat or something like that, because I can also make hat clips that will hold it. Or, you know, once I have a helmet set up, you know, I could mount it to the helmet as well, because a lot of those have different places to attach different things, and I can make it work with that. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I enjoy gadgets. There goes $50, but, you know, I enjoy little gadgets and making and designing things. I do not require nighttime VFR, I don't think. I was just looking through the FAR AIM manual yesterday. But I would like to to do night stuff. Whether it's 5 or 10 hours or something like that. I think it's 5. If anything, it's 5 hours. But I know to stay current, you need to have 3 nighttime takeoffs and landings in the past 90 days if you want to do nighttime VFR per FAA. And 3 daytime landings, but if you just do your 3 takeoffs and landings at night, then that counts to your daytime. But if you do it at daytime, then you got to do the night ones also. But I'd like to stay current with that. I'd like to get experience with that, because, you know, I don't say you always can't choose when you're going to fly, but if you go somewhere and a storm pops up and you gotta wait, but you still need to go back that night, I'm like, okay, cool, you may be flying later than you expected, you know. And as long as, you know, like, there's nothing wrong with taking it up, because you can still do VFR flying at night. No, which I've seen them doing night patterns up there at the airport and stuff, which I assume they're getting the 3-day or their 3 nighttime takeoffs and landings. I think I've seen a 44 once or twice tooting around. But most other stuff is stuff that's definitely IFR capable. Now, they're not doing IFR flights. Our medical, I know it's one thing like overseas. Medical flights don't really run at night. Is that a thing with you guys? Because our medics run at night, and I don't think anybody here in Georgia runs VFR medical flights. I know, like, up in the northeast, Maine and stuff, where there's a whole bunch of fog and shit all the time anyways, they'll do IFR ships and, like, the Augusta 169s. But I don't think anybody here does IFR, any IFR ships. I think it's all nighttime VFR. But yeah, there's a lot of places around here that do night VFR. As far as schools, that's probably not like a super heavily trained thing. But as far as all the medical stuff here, they're all VFR as far as I know. ...165 knots, 162 nautical miles. We keep up this pace, we're an hour away. Which we may not keep up this pace, but we're going to try. big red pond up here on the right. What I am curious about, though, when I go back for day one of my actual instructor on Monday, I'm curious how much he and the instructor that flew with me last Friday, I'm curious how much they've talked. Or if he's like, okay, cool, he'll figure out about it whenever I get up there. Because I don't know how it's, like, I was obviously able to convince the guy to let me attempt hovering, and I could do it. So I don't know if I need to be like, this guy already knows that I can, and that it's something that doesn't need to be, like, taught, just, you know, like, practiced. Like, I'm really curious to see what we're going to work on. What little skills or things to do, because even if he didn't give me something on the discovery flight of like, okay, cool, well, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right, it was kind of more just to see if I'm not fucking terrified being in the air with the doors off. I was still taking mental notes of things that I wasn't doing quite right, which are all little things that I've thought about and practiced myself and thought about, like, bench flying, like, cool, I need to do this better, I need to do this better, you know? It's all stuff I've taken into consideration since then. And I feel like I want that every flight as well. You know, like, even it's like, okay, cool, we'll work on it next time. It's like, no, I want you to tell me, like, what I did wrong now so I can think about what I did to put me in that situation. Even if I'm a 10,000 hour fucking pilot and I'm doing the most normal bred run of, let's just say it's a tour, and I'm doing a tour as a 10,000 hour pilot for whatever reason, like, I would still rather have a debrief at the end, or to, like, look back on my flight and say, like, okay, cool, I wasn't happy with this part, I wasn't happy with this part, and take notes and do better next time, you know, like, cool, I wasn't as smooth as I wanted to be, or like, cool, I had an extra, like, 10th of a degree of pedal at whatever point I may have been smoother, you know, like, I want to think about that every time. So I guess it all just depends on the personality and stuff of this instructor as well, so we'll see. But I feel like we'll do a pretty good pre-flight as well. Just to him, you know, getting to know me. I'm still going to be there 20, 30, 40 minutes early. Okay, Tom, tell me, what are all these little pull-off things here? Why does it look like fucking fish bones? I've seen that on some other roads around. Yeah, I'm sure that me and the new instructor, or my instructor, will chat a pretty good bit beforehand as well, so he'll learn, and if the other guy didn't tell him about it, then I'll give him a debrief of what me and the other guy did and went over and talked about and stuff, and yeah, it'll be good. Drainage, okay. Ah, yes, because it rains so much out here, I can tell. It sure does sometimes. Like, how often does, like, the center of the country get rain? When it rains. Oh, yeah, it happens out there. Yeah, whenever it happens, it does. $20 millimeters. Okay, yeah, so like 2 inches, 2.5 inches. Or not even that. But I mean, yeah, that much over this big of an area going into one little gully runoff like this can be a fucking thing, that's for sure. You can definitely see that runoff there. That's coming off to the west there. That's that big old lighter area. On average. The wet season around Christmas time every year it's around 500 millimeters on average. Okay, cool. I mean, it's not a lot, but over this area, yeah. I wonder what that storm was yesterday that went by the airport here in Atlanta. How much rain did Atlanta get yesterday? Last 48-hour rainfall total Atlanta airport. Well, nothing's easily telling it to me in Google search results. Anyways, I bet it's more than what they get out here. That was like a 3 or 4 inch storm. Dude, we've had some wild fucking weather here the past like 2 weeks. If GPS is in here, he can definitely vouch for that. Like pretty stout storms coming through. Almost out of nowhere, moving the weird direction. Oh yeah, dude. It was funny, so that video, it got a few views or whatever starting out. And like, we had a tornado warning. I don't think it ever hit the ground. But like, there was a storm with circulation and stuff pretty close by the school. Like, so some wind damage up the street or whatever. But then like 4 or 5 years later, there was a tornado that went through Alabama in a town called Enterprise. And whenever the Enterprise, Alabama storm happened, it actually hit a school during school hours. And my video got a lot of views of that during that time. Like after that happened, people started like looking up Enterprise, and like you could see the analytics of like where the viewers came from, but everybody was looking up like Enterprise, Alabama, tornado school, whatever, because it was a big fucking thing. But yeah, I definitely clickbaited the shit out of that one. Tornado attacks high school. But yeah, anytime there's like a school that gets hit by a tornado, like you can see the views on that one go up from, you know, people like looking up the one thing and then it refers them around and they kind of rabbit hole into some other stuff. Yeah, I think that was the only time we actually had like a serious tornado drill. Or not drill, like a tornado action being taken. I think that was the only time that we actually had to go and get cover. We've hunkered down here at the house a couple of times for things that are like close by and moving through. Gotta go, adios. School sucks, got hit by a tornado. Man, school sucked today. Everything's all good and they made us get in the hallway and we got hit by a tornado. Sucked. And the only reason that video exists too is because that was like shortly after Christmas time. And for Christmas I had gotten like a... Oh no, I don't want to go backwards. Where am I going? My button presses are all fucked up today. Something. Yeah, so I'd gotten a that particular camera for Christmas, and it's still somewhere in all my stuff. And this is like back when HD first came out, so it was like 1080p, 30 frames a second. Like vertical body, but the screen would like flip out sideways, like kind of like pocket-friendly, whatever camera. And I brought that to school with me for the first couple of weeks or month or so after getting it, and that just happened to happen pretty shortly after, so I brought it with me into the hallway. March 31st, 2019, there was a tornado that came 1.88 miles from my house. Yeah, oh wow. Is that here in Georgia? Or was that when you were somewhere else? Because even with the enhanced scale, a 4 is pretty fucking stout. Which, like, I like the enhanced scale, but I do kind of like the old school scale also. Because at the end of the day, I just want to know the fucking wind damage, you know? Like, I don't care if this tornado goes through a field and doesn't destroy anything but some grass. And they're like, okay, cool, it was an EF1. It's like, no, it was a 180 mile an hour tornado. It's an F5. Fuck off. In Georgia, wow. Was that in the area that you're in now, or were you somewhere else in Georgia? Because I know you said you had family up in like Virginia or something that you went to go visit. Because I'm trying to think of Luke 1, 2, 3, 4, bro. Bro, show me how not to fly. We'll see if I crash. We restart from where we stopped last. So I don't particularly want to crash right now. Current house. Okay, cool. Well, not cool, but I guess I just haven't heard of any tornadoes down in that direction. Like, probably because I don't live down in that direction. Yeah, I can show you how to fly, but how not to fly, no. Not in the Around the World series. If we do a shenanigan session after we do our around the world flying, then we can goof off. Or if I have another, like I'll do some non around the world flying some days. But you can expect a not around the world flying one on Monday, at least. Went from Beauregard, Alabama to Talbot, Georgia. I may have heard of that then. But yeah, so if you show back up Monday for sure, we'll do some how not to fly. But I'll also be doing very, very, very specific how to fly on Monday as well. Got a real life helicopter lesson on Monday, and I, throughout my course of flying in real life, at least learning, and doing school and lessons and stuff like that, I do want to replay what I did that day in the simulator. It's a good review tool, a good learning tool, especially coming from the real thing and going to this. So Monday we'll do some goofing around, as well as some very much not goofing around. You know, we've had a few near us, but nothing that was that close, I don't think. We've had a couple, like, circulations kind of being near us. We had a decent straight line wind thing. Like, almost right when we started this series, I think. I think I brought it up. Where we had some like 80 or 90 mile an hour winds push through. But all the tornadoes have kind of been further south or further north, which just means like we're more in the crosshairs now, you know. Dude, this is just like fucking no man's land out here. Luke, have you been in here before? I don't think I recognize your name. If you're still in here. If not, then goodbye. But I don't think I've seen you in here before. If not, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. We're 45 episodes into like 120 episodes of flying around the world. A new chatter. Whoa. Hell yeah. That's what we like to see here. I enjoyed Tom and Georgia Plane Spotting being in here, but it is nice to see new people come in. I don't know if I'm more nervous for this lesson than the Discovery flight. The Discovery flight was like I said, on such a whim, where it like it wasn't pre-planned until I was like driving within like 20 miles of the airport, and I was like, let me just call and see. But also, like, once we were out on the tarmac, I wasn't nervous. Process starting it up and him picking it up and taking us down to the run-up pad, and me being on the controls for the first time, wasn't nervous. It was like a non-issue. Like I don't say I felt natural in it, because I don't think you can feel natural. We will be going across the Atlantic, but not in the long way. We're trying to do this as realistic as possible, where we're doing distance jumps that are realistic for a helicopter to do. So what we will do, we're in Australia right now. When we get up to the Atlantic, we're going to leave the UK here. We're going to come up to this island. From that island, we're going to go to Iceland. From Iceland, we're going to come to Greenland, kind of come around Greenland, and go back down to Canada. So it's a possible jump. It's something that could happen in real life. So we're trying to do it as real as possible. People have flown around the world in helicopters. I don't think anybody's done the path that I'm doing, because we came down to Australia because one of our viewers is from Australia and he requested it, so we came down here. And then since we're doing Australia, I also want to swing down to South America, so we'll have done all of the continents with the exception of Antarctica. Yeah, so we've already technically crossed the Pacific. We started in Georgia, in like day 10, 11, or 12 or something. We were up in Alaska, crossed from Alaska to Russia, up there from like Nome, Alaska, something like that. Anyways, crossed over to Russia, and then came down. We did a couple of big island hops from like Russia to Japan, Japan down to Taiwan, then of course bouncing through all of the Philippine islands and stuff like that. Yeah, we're taking it as realistic of a course as possible. But this Australian detour has been like a 2-week detour. So hopefully I would like to be back up on mainland Southeast Asia by the time I hit 50 episodes, which is 5 more episodes from now. And I'll feel definitely more on track once we do that. We don't have a lot of places to look at or places to see out there. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff to see, don't get me wrong. But we'll definitely be more in a just grinding to get over to the UAE, because the next places that I really, really want to see, you know, they're it's going to be like Dubai, United Arab Emirates. They have some cool places over on their northwestern side of their country. A lot of cool formations, pyramids. Then we'll jump up across the Mediterranean up to Benghazi, then up across the Mediterranean. In Europe, there's a lot to see there, but between landing in Thailand and making it to the UAE, there's not too much that we're looking at. We're following up the Himalayas. We'll have one day where we kind of jump up towards Mount Everest and go to base camp. But most of those days it'll just be burning hours, you know, like good 3.5 or 3 to 3.5 more if we need to hour trips. So we should tick away at it pretty good. Once we get up there. Right now, we're just in a big detour right now. Once we hit Southeast Asia, we'll be back on proper track. Honestly, I think if we didn't do Australia, we'd probably be past Everest right now. Because really, once we hit Taiwan, that was I won't say the make or break point, but I think at Taiwan was when I was planning on turning to the west and going across. Let's see. Yeah, so I was planning on hitting Taiwan, jumping across like whatever town's there, and then coming down this way. But instead, we did like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, like 7 days to get to Australia, and now 10 days in Australia. Where I could have had 17 days of across, down. Yeah, I think if we didn't do Australia, we'd probably be past Mount Everest by now. But that's all part of it, you know. I've got the time and nothing going on right now, so might as well do it. And if y'all are sitting here willing to watch me do it, that's even cooler because I'm not doing it alone and bored. I wonder how far this road will take us, or it will take us up the Dali. What's our speed looking like? 156 knots and 138 knots airspeed. Cool, so we got a 20 knot tailwind with us right now. I'll take it. And we're what? Still 100 miles. We're 90 nautical miles and we're doing 165 knots. Or 45 minutes or so. Because we were doing 180 knots, that'd make it 30 minutes. But we're not. We're doing 160 over the ground. So yeah, 40, 45 minutes. Somewhere in there. Apparently flying around the world's a long process. Excuse me, guys. My bad. Actually, no, it's not my bad. I'm blaming that on a baby. Went to my friend's house last weekend. And now their babies are sick. And I'm sick. And the parents are sick. So I'm blaming it on the kid. If anybody's curious what we're in right now, we're in the 130, the Zermatt Air. Very cool company out of Europe. Or not Zermatt Air, Air Zermatt. Z-E-R-M-A-T-T, I believe. You're black. Welcome back. We are 84 miles from destination with a ground speed of 155 to 160 knots, give or take. Dang kids. Big change in ground textures up here. Okay. And I just looked at the time. We're almost at midnight here. Which is making me slightly, I don't want to say concerned. It's making me possibly want to end once we make it up here to Dally or Daily, whatever it's called. Not because I can't do more, but I'm, usually when I stay up super, super late, I end up not getting up as early as I need to. And I've been doing my studying in the morning. So I'd really like to keep that going tomorrow. And then Monday, of course, I'm going to be waking up early, doing more studying, and then going to my flight school after that. And then I'm possibly going to be booking out Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Just depends on what the weather looks like. Daily, got it. So as much as I would like to put crossing the water in the crosshairs for the next stream, which being in Katherine, was it Katherine? I think it's being in the supposed destination for today. As much as that would put us in striking distance to cross the strait to get up back into Indonesia. We may end it at Daily just to keep me on somewhat of a schedule, because as much as I would like to get this around the world done, I would much more like to get my actual pilot's license done and be in the best mind when doing it. And if that means I have to keep a better schedule, then we're going to keep a better schedule, and I'll stream earlier when there's less people on, and it's just, we'll have to deal with it, you know. Or y'all will have to deal with it. I'll be doing it regardless. So yeah, we may end up here at Daily. Or we're going to sit down up here for fuel anyways. I'll see what the distance is, but I think it's going to be more than I want to do. Because like I said, I'd rather go take my shower and put myself in bed and force myself to go to sleep now. Still keeping 160. Good, good, good. 160 knots, 70 nautical miles left to go. I like that. Also, Luke's from the UK. Goodness. It's gonna be fucking, what, 5 a.m. for you guys over there? Good morning. It's a paved runway. We ordered somebody to come in here with fuel. I've purchased a fuel truck to meet us here, contracted it. Yep, 5 o'clock in UK. They are 5 hours from us. But I don't think there's Jet A anywhere between Tenon and Katherine at any of these airports. With them being freshly paved, they look more likely to have it. Yeah, fuel truck trove drone from Darwin. Dude, I saw a fuel truck like driving on a back road the other day. I was like, okay, cool. I guess they are delivered that way. Yeah, or Katherine, yeah. We ordered a fuel truck from somewhere. I mean, I know the MD500 can run on diesel. Can any other turbine helicopter that we have at our disposal run on it, or are they too fine-tuned to accept the diesel? I'm not meant to. Okay. Well, good thing I brought some American fucking snacks and drinks and stuff for our fuel truck driver, so he's gladly meeting us down here with the Jet A ordered from Katherine. It's funny, it's like I know that we need to be going a little bit more left, but this little bit of straight cut stuff there, I just kind of automatically oriented myself with. Now this out here seems more like the place where the dude was hunting the camels in those fucking videos. All cattle stations. Little bushy whatever trees, yeah. Yeah, they look like full-ass trees from up here. I assume they look like full-ass trees down there as well. I don't think the generative programming for the simulator simulates tiny trees. The Australian desert tree. There's a little something up here. Looks like a little grass field or soft runway. Bless me. Oh, that's so annoying. I can still, like, taste the mucus in that. Ugh. Being sick sucks. Dang kids. Flying doctors and mail planes. Interesting. I mean, like, really, where else would there be? Without going all the way up to fucking, to Katherine. Sorry, the music stopped. That's also something I wish they would do. Coming back from the pause menu, having like a little crosshairs thing to show you where your controls are at, so you can re-put your controls in the center and get yourself more situated to being back in control rather than an immediate yaw to the left. Did you just name an airport and say it has no fuel? Yeah, this airport here, no fuel. Trivia. What trivia is there to be had? What is the difference between pitch angle, angle of attack, and induced flow? It's a very helicopter question. And you can do it one at a time. So pitch angle first. What is pitch angle? Dirt strip, one runway, one hangar, maybe a windsock. Ah, living the dream. I got 30 knot tailwind down here. I'll take it. I feel like this is probably that's a little dirt runway. We'll overfly it. You know, there's no rule against naming it International Airport. It's just funny when you do. Somebody with like a Gulfstream G650 is like, why can't we land here? It's much closer to the investment that I'm making. Well, because it's not an actual fucking international airport, sorry. Wow, I guess nobody knows what pitch angle is. Sad. Nope, Tom's satellite view's failing again. Posted in the Discord. For anybody watching who's not in the Discord, feel free to join the Discord. Should be a link in the channel description. Maybe even the video description, I don't know. That would depend if earlier me's added it or not. High chance that it's not. Yeah, Australia's been cucking you guys on good Google Map stuff, haven't they? Also, I did the research. I think I posted in the Discord of that like what was like a brand new A320 or something that was parked in Alice Springs, because they have the big airport store or airplane storage area out there. What's the point of buying a brand new fucking airplane if it's going into storage? I don't get that. Like, I can understand maybe getting rid of an older New Zealand airplane and putting it in storage in case you need parts for something that's pre-existing in your fleet, but like the new one that you just bought, like, why is it in storage? I don't get it. What is this place called? Hayfield. Hayfield. How does living out here fucking work? Jesus. I mean, like you said, they have these little strips here for mail-in doctors and stuff like that, but... like, I crave the life to where I don't have a lot of technology to deal with every day. But at the same time, like, holy crap, I need some... I feel like I need some semblance of people and places and things to do. You know, I don't need it all the time. I don't need a million places to choose from to go eat. You know, I'm usually eating at home cooking anyways. But, out here, I mean, it obviously is a whole different sort of living. Whole different lifestyle. "28 nautical miles to the location at our fuel truck." And I mean, obviously there's a helicopter there waiting for us because we're not flying this one tomorrow. So it's not like the fuel there matters, because I'm going to call it once we hit up here, because I'm going to try to end and go shower and try to get some actual sleep. He was on a different airport. Yeah, we're about 15 minutes from. About 25 miles, 140 knot ground speed. It's a 15-minute flight. Yeah, Google Maps is never wrong, so technically I think Tom has the wrong information. Oh, also, if either of you want a cool challenge on Google Satellite View, or whatever satellite view you would like to use, Bing, Apple, MapQuest, whatever, find the coolest airplane that you can find and share it in the Discord. It doesn't have to be flying, it could be parked somewhere at a terminal on the ramp. Maybe you find a fucking air show or something and there's a P-51 parked outside. But find the coolest airplanes you can find from satellite view and post them. Proper Australian database. I don't think such a thing exists. There's proper databases, there's Australian databases, but I don't think a proper Australian database exists. So anyways, pitch angle is the angle of the chord line, which is the line inside of the airfoil shape of your blades. It's like the front of the train, or leading edge to the back of the trailing edge, that's the chord line. The angle of the chord line, as opposed to the, are measured from the plane of rotation. Yeah, no, it's only another 45 to an hour, but that puts me going to bed at 2 o'clock, which I don't want to do. It shows every recognized airstrip in Australia. But yeah, my sleep health priority is definitely going up now. I love flying for the stream, but if I'm tired one day during my fucking flight training and stuff and I end up not doing well or messing up on a check flight or something like that, then that's wasted money all because I stayed up for an extra hour or two doing this. So yeah, we're gonna call it a daily. And the U2? Are they parked outside in an air museum? I found a Cessna 150. I feel like Georgia Plains Bike just went to an air museum. It finds the Cessna 172 Racing. The C72R. No, when it was airworthy, interesting. Did you go back on like the Google Maps time machine thing? Or was this back you were looking at it previously? Trivia time. What is induced flow? What is induced flow? Just know all my trivia for the next foreseeable future will be very technically oriented. It's an outdated satellite photo, but it's the current. Oh, nice. I need to do the Google Earth timeline thing and go back to a couple things. Downflow created by the rotors. Correct. Why is induced flow technically bad? And I'll give the more techie answer. It can make drag. Technically, yes. So yeah, when you have your full pitch of the blade, you would think that the entire pitch of the blade is giving you bite into the air. But you have a thing called relative wind when you're talking about how the blades are actually coming in contact with the air. The relative wind is kind of how you can imagine, or I mean, I said it, how air's getting to the blade. So if you have the blade here at an angle like this, and the wind's coming in here, your angle of attack's only this much. But this stuff underneath is called the induced flow. And it's air that your blade's pushing, but not technically getting any effect out of, if you want to consider it that. If you're doing an in-ground effect hover, you have much more, or much less induced flow because of the backup of the pressure from all the air underneath the helicopter. When you get into an out-of-ground effect hover, you have a lot more induced flow because the air is able to freely move through. So as the air particles move down through the rotor system, they're already being pulled downward. In that downward motion, they have all that momentum already. So when the blade hits it to create lift from it, it's not getting all of the energy, because if it can only push, we'll say, it can only push this piece of air up to a speed of 100 miles an hour, going straight down. If the air is already moving 50 miles an hour down, you can only get 50 miles an hour worth of lift going back up. So when you start moving forward, you start getting out of your induced flow, or out of... When you're moving forward, you change the angle of your relative wind, so you're getting a lot more fresh air that's having more full effect with your rotor system. It can make vortices. It's caused by the spinny thing, by the spinny wings. The ceiling fan creates it. I'm reaching for my notebook. Notebook, come here. Let's see. Is my pen still in here? Yeah. It's known that as you go up in altitude, you have reduced performance from your helicopter. What are 3 factors that are the cause for that reduce in performance? Not going to Katherine. Like I said, I'm doing this for my own sanity, as much as I would like to, and I was planning on it. I'm prioritizing my being able to sleep and be restful for what's more important in life, which is me being licensed and actually able to get out of the nope, sorry, not gonna happen. Oh, so the 3 things that affect it are: the air is thinner, so you have less to deal with, which also gives you less the air thinner, so the thin air gives you less blade ability to make use of the air. Your engine has less cooling, and you also have less performance from the engine, being less air and oxygen to burn. Aerial, I like this spot right here. No scheduled flights. $500 out of GPS's pocket. No, like I said, my priority is getting this, because I've been gifted a certain amount of money to do this. Anything else is coming out of my pocket, so this is literally me fighting against myself if I end up killing my own sleep. On top of that, also, we're going to have to go to a different time to do these anyways, just out of just out of time zones and shit moving around. So we're going to have to start doing these a little bit earlier anyways. So that means earlier bedtime regardless. Go and turn that off, and these brakes don't work right. Yeah. The 130s just look so good. Oh no, they got planes scheduled up. What the hell is this little thing? Looks like a little RV or something. Oh, a Tekken. Okay. But yeah, you know, it's a bit for my own sanity. Because I still have to give myself a little bit of a wind down time also after doing this, because I've had unnatural blue light jamming in my face for the past 3 hours now. 10-minute flight around home airport, we'll call it that. So, oh yeah, but yeah, thanks for the around the world part for today, anybody who's watching. Next time we go up to the coast. So let's refix this. In flight. Yep, so next stream we end up here. So now we go to home airport. Flight conditions, custom, clear. Segment back. Give me a time. Start flight. Oh, they're leaving. They'll be leaving and coming back a whole bunch. Because the big race is Sunday, or tomorrow, right? Today was just like the Arca series race, I believe. Was it? Quaker State 400. What? Shit, was it tonight or was it tomorrow? Because if it's tomorrow, then they're just heading back up to go get whoever, you know, the rest of the team and stuff. Oh yeah, dude, fucking, they do tins. They do a lot of trips. Yeah, there we go. E145, FTN8. Yeah, that's one of them. So yeah, they don't have the FBO here, so we'll hop in the helicopter and do it. Up, back slightly. Battery strobe. Fuel down. Why did you... I can't hear. There you go. Got oil pressure and all that. Not gonna worry about any tests or anything. Oh yeah, dude, there's fucking a ton of them here. Was the race today? I know I had a friend that was at the track today, but I feel like it might have been ARCA series. And the actual cup race is tomorrow, because usually the race is on Sunday. Okay, so here's where the helicopters typically park. I think this is actually the spot where we finished up my last flight. This building that's right here in front of us is actually a building. And this end section here, because there's like little exposed T-hangers to the right. But this, facing the wall this way, was the their simulator, which is like the same setup I have. So yeah, they can fit 10 E145s here. So they're not going to park here where this dude was. Typically where they go is way down here. Oh, FTN 9, there we go. They'll put like 3 or 4 here on this main parking pad area. But then they'll also use, if you check the satellite view KHMP, you may even see a couple of PJs parked down here. But they'll use the run-up pad deep storage area down here. And they'll park a few of them. But I mean, this airport was more or less renovated specifically to handle the traffic that comes through with these 145s, and they might even do a couple of 190s and stuff. I think it's mostly 145s. What's the airline for the FTN 9, FTN 8? So anyways, with NASCAR, they do a race every weekend for like 20 or 30 weeks or something. And these races are all over the United States. And these NASCAR teams, they have pit crews, they have hospitality crews, they have the owners, they have family members, they have the drivers and family members. Hundreds of people that they need to bring in for the race, which is right here at the speedway. So instead of a department or whatever working on spending hundreds and hundreds of hours of booking flights for everybody where they can't control if Delta doesn't make it there one day, or if Delta does it, they fly into Atlanta and then they have to worry about busing people around from Atlanta back and forth. If you look at most NASCAR tracks, there are Victory Air, okay. If you look at most NASCAR tracks, there's a municipal airport or a county airport right next to it. And it's like that so that way the NASCAR teams can fly in their groups, which some teams actually own their jets. But some teams will do a secondary company, you know, like Championship Air. I wasn't looking where I was going right there. Victory Air. There's like 3 or 4 different ones. And they'll all run through that. Or if one of the teams bigger, like let's say Hendrix Motorsports or something like that, maybe they're the ones who started Victory Air or Championship Air. And they'll say like, okay, cool, we only need like 2 planes to handle our people, but we have the facilities and stuff to handle more now. FTN 8 showing on the ground there again. FTN 4 over there turned on. But they'll have a handful of these things and they can offer them to other people or places or whatever, other teams. Are there helipads at the track? There is one that's designated, and that's right next to like the medical area. But I feel like they could really land anywhere, because the one time I've actually seen helicopter land was during a drag racing thing, because they used to do Friday night drags down the pit lane, and some dude fucking crashed and died. But they landed down there on pit lane, because it was also not a NASCAR event, so it wasn't like the full med staff or anything. But I don't know if they keep a helicopter here. They might keep a 145 or something here. H-145. But they might keep a helicopter of some sort here on the days, just to not have to bring one in. But yeah, it's here. The ground's actually much more level. But one of my friends, he actually leases like 2 of the garage bays, like right here, and he does stunt driving stuff. So whenever we do stunt driving practice, we do it in this parking lot right down here, which I'm going to have to see eventually if I can come in and bring a helicopter and do a landing down in here while they're doing drifting and stuff. I think that'd be cool to do. Yeah, only during races, obviously. Yeah, the one time that I've seen one here, they landed it down here because that's close to where the guy wrecked, and they obviously didn't have the full medical staffing or anything for the Friday night drags races. Just like 1 or 2 EMS teams. But whatever town that these people are going to, which, oh yeah, anyways, runway 24, runway 6, standard pattern stuff. And if you watch the last Angry Helicopters episode I did, you see that there's a Halls flying ranch right there. We did a confined area landing into a field there at Halls. But really we just stayed around here. And days that I do my lessons, you can expect me to do like a full breakdown of what we went over and what we covered. I was going to say, what airport are they flying up to? What's the name of the airport that they're going to, GPS? Because I want to go there real quick just to show you. Or I'll just satellite view it, or whatever. It's up here in Tri-Cities, is that it? Nope, that's not it. Statesville. So Statesville Regional right here. If you look at it. No. So okay, cool. It's got a decent runway set up here. But you look down here at all these hangars and stuff. These are all... Dang, it's not going to show satellite view. But this is all Victory Air, Championship Air. These are all NASCAR hangars down here. So yeah, they'll come and drop people off or whatever. And I think these are NASCAR hangars as well. But they all basically run out of here. So if you look at satellite view of SVH here, you'll see it's just 145. It's like it's a 145 airport. It's a CRJ type airport, you know. Anyways, yeah. Fun day today. Like I said, I'm going to shower and get out of here. Maybe I'll be in bed by 1:30. And, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, seeing the planes there on satellite view, yeah, you can see them. Like I said, it's an airport basically built for them. But, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll do it again soon. Y'all sleep good or let the bed bugs bite.